Federal government launches National Talent Export Program to actualize plans to create 50 million jobs for Nigerians. Health experts make case for partnerships that will upscale immunization against killer diseases, especially in rural communities. Correspondent X-rays precautionary measures to ensure safety during ember months. These and more on Panorama today, reaching live from Abuja. I am Elizabeth Omori. We'll be right back. Nigeria's government has launched a new program towards actualization of its plan to create millions of jobs for Nigerians. The National Talent Export Program, NATEP, was launched at the Microsoft Corporation office in New York, at the margins of the 78th United Nations General Assembly. State House correspondent Musbah Wahab tells us more.
Long before the current wave of Japa syndrome, the warning has been drumming as Nigeria loses talents in droves to the industrialized countries. But then, the current administration has apparently identified an opportunity in this seeming adversity. NATEP is coming as the game changer.
The four-pronged objectives of the NATEP initiative are as follows. 1. To deliver 1 million service export jobs over the next 5 years. 2. To increase foreign exchange earnings and revenue for Nigeria. 3. To create economic growth and to stimulate the growth of ancillary industries and support services. And 4. To improve skills and strengthen the Nigerian brand.
The growing youthful unemployed population and about 1.7 million Nigerians being produced annually by higher learning institutions and how to be converted to the product the world is looking for the fast-growing artificial intelligence and big data industries.
From my ministry, in contribution to what the Honorable Minister is doing, we are actually investing in becoming the destination for artificial intelligence talent, especially when it comes to how you train AI models. This is an area where we believe that the world needs a lot of talent, and we think Nigeria can quickly ramp up and train people who can become great at training the AI model. And in the process of that, we can supply that talent to the rest of the world.
Like an idea of whose time has come, the program is already gaining momentum with support from top tech companies.
I hope that we will be able to provide support to NATEP through the continuous reskilling and upskilling of the workforce that will be a part of this initiative.
Nigeria has a great amount of content to deliver to the world. Nigeria should be providing apps for Africa and the world.
NATEP aimed at positioning Nigeria as a leading global hub for service exports and talent sourcing in Africa is also projected to take 1 million Nigerians off the labor markets annually and for the next 5 years. From New York, Musbah Wahab, NTA News.
Land degradation, food insecurity, and the plight of rural dwellers formed the core of discussions among leaders, policymakers, development and founding partners on the sidelines of the ongoing United Nations General Assembly. Cecil Egbele reports from the AU Permanent Mission to the United Nations venue of the meeting.
The meeting themed attracting investment in land restoration, food systems and rural transformation in Africa, hosted by the African Union Development Agency, Aldo Nepard, Nigerian Secretariat, emphasized that for food to continue to be in plenty, the land should be treated as a prized possession.
There is only one way forward, which is massive investment in sustainable land use, such as financing of business and contribution to biodiversity and adaptation.
The Nigerian government reported on efforts being made to ensure that the concerns of smallholder farmers are addressed.
The Nigerian government is providing extensive support to smallholder farmers in seedlings, agricultural incentives, and agricultural facilities to optimize investments and job creation across the country.
Data from Aldo Nepad states that 1 in 4 Africans suffer from chronic hunger, while 60% of the African population are rural dwellers, whose primary occupation is agriculture. These farmers, they say, should be treated right. Nados Bekele Thomas, Chief Executive Officer of Aldo Nepad, says there are several initiatives to address economic growth, like the AFR 100, which aims to restore 100 million hectares of African land in 2030.
These initiatives are not solely about land restoration. They are catalysts for sustainable agriculture and economic growth.
In 2 panel sessions, facts, challenges, opportunities, and ways forward were posed as factors to be considered to achieve maximum results.
A project which doesn't include the local people at the center of its work will not be successful.
What we face in Akwa Ibom, which is an oil-producing state in the Niger Delta, is that of land degradation by oil prospecting activities and illegal mining.
The government of Zimbabwe recently instituted 99-year leases, which are fully bankable and financeable.
80% of the processed food we eat on the African continent is imported, 80%. And that's how we export jobs.
The global financial architecture is outdated, it's inequitable, and it's actually constraining Africa from playing its role as a provider of globally significant climate solutions.
Let's move to a call for proposals model where we ask communities, what do you want to do? What is needed where you are?
At the end of the high-level meeting, the facts were clear. Commitments were made and implementation was underway.
So it is important to attract financing, investment, and also ensure that certain processes are put in place.
Even Mr. President went ahead to promise that he's going to remove every bottleneck to ensure that these priorities succeed.
Right after the Aldo Nepad meeting started the African Union session on climate change. From the African Union mission in New York, I'm Cecile Egbele reporting.
And Panorama continues in our Just Network Center, where Mary is standing by. Over to you, Mary.
And welcome to Just. President Bola Tinubu's first trip for the United Nations General Assembly is indeed a blessing for Nigeria and Africa as a whole. Analysts say his request for a real deal for Nigeria and other sister African countries further depicts his leadership role as ECOWAS chairman and a global leader.
Do bear with us. We will not be able to continue with our studio in Jos, but we will continue from here. Moving on, President Bola Tinubu's first trip for the United Nations General Assembly is indeed a blessing for Nigeria and Africa as a whole. Analysts say his request for a real deal for Nigeria and other sister African countries further depicts his leadership role as ECOWAS chairman and a global leader. In this report, Adebola Brooksland Sunday X-rays President Tinubu's outing at the 78th session of the United Nations General Assembly.
President
and Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces of the Federal Republic of Nigeria.
President Bola Tinubu joined world leaders at the 78th United Nations General Assembly to engage in the annual high-level general debates, where he advocated equal and firm commitments to African partnership with the developed world.
We seek enhanced international cooperation with African nations to achieve the 2030 Agenda and Sustainable Development Goals.
As the President of Nigeria and current ECOWAS chairman, while assessing Africa's challenges, the Nigerian leader acknowledged that governance failure within the continent have indeed hindered its progress.
Reliable and significant assistance allowed countries emaciated by war to grow into a strong and productive society.
the West African sub-region.
Social commentator Professor Abiodun Adeniyi described President Tinubu's outing as not only excellent but beyond expectations.
No doubt, an outstanding speech, something you will expect to have from a president with consummate experience.
Speaking to the real issues.
Dr. Suleiman Hashim, a political and social affairs analyst.
He also spoke about how the Africans have to start to be empowered, because it is the lack of empowerment, which was supposed to be a major dividend of democracy to the people, that is bringing about the whole coup and what have you, and people losing confidence in democracy.
Climate change, terrorism financing, economic sabotage, as well as illicit minerals and arms smuggling are some of the factors the president listed as issues responsible for the region's insecurity and economic misfortunes.
I want to tell you it's a plus for this nation. This has also further proven that His Excellency is a Democrat, he is a non-detribalized personality.
The respondents also praised President Bola Tinubu for advocating the need for Africa to overcome the constraints of foreign exploitation. Adebola Brookslyn, NTA News.
Now let's talk Nigeria-China relations. The federal government, in its efforts to actualize the administration's 8-point agenda of renewed hope, has pledged its commitment to strengthen bilateral relations with the People's Republic of China for deepened economic cooperation that will mutually be beneficial for both countries. The Minister of State Steel Development, who represented Vice President Kashim Shettima, said this at the Mid-Autumn Festival in Chinese National Day celebration held in Lagos. He reiterated the need for expansion of trade opportunities and technological cooperation, stating government's readiness to ensure responsible business practices that will further deepen their cooperation. Commercial Consul at the Chinese Consulate, Gyo Penguin, said large volume of trade between both countries is strengthening economic stability and improving transport networks. Now, in keeping to the promise of constructing a superhighway that will open the window for investment opportunities beyond the shores of the country, the Federal Ministry of Works is reviewing the inception report for the proposed Lagos-Calabar Coastal Highway. The Minister of Works, David Umahi, believes the project will not only create industrial cluster, but equally ease connectivity between the 6 geopolitical zones of the country and beyond. Michael Olale brings us details.
The concept behind the Lagos-Calabar Coastal Highway was inspired by the need to create an economically vibrant road network across communities, obviously difficult to navigate through the land. And according to the inception report presented by the representative of the contractor, it is a 657 kilometers project starting from the Eko Atlantic City to connect with the growing trade corridor in Lekki, down to Edo, Delta, and finally terminating at Calabar.
We hope this will happen very soon. It's very important for the government, for the country, and for the people of Nigeria.
The minister said the project is the brainchild of President Bola Tinubu, believing it is the catalyst for economic prosperity, creating a ready-made platform for investors to tap in, as the project has ports connecting Ogoja in Cross River State and Cameroon.
This project is going to be delivered in phases. Any section we complete, we will toll it, and then the business and transportation will start. Let me say that the right of way of this project is about 100 meters corridor. The essence of it is that we're going to have a lot of development, tourism mostly along the corridor of this road. There is provision for rail line, at the middle of the road.
The superhighway, expected to have 4 carriage lanes, will follow the engineering trend of solid concrete pavements of 11 inches thick, and this, the minister believes, will expand the production capacity of cement industries in the country.
For reason of this very innovative idea of Mr. President on concrete roads, many cement factories are coming up, local contact, and we can even say that we have a project and we are sure of the cost, at least within a year.
With the review of inception reports done, another meeting will be convened in the next 2 weeks where the business case will be unveiled and the letter of ownership presented to the contractor. In Lagos, Michael Olaleye, NTA News.
You're watching Panorama, reaching live from Abuja. Let's take a breather now. More reports ahead.
The counsel of our fathers.
I will urge and advise our younger generation to use talent and brain to sort out problems, not arms.
Nigerian youths, let's build our nation.
My advice to these young people is please do not take us back to those harrowing days. You probably do not know what it is.
I believe we have fought one civil war too many in this country. So those who experience it will run away from it.
Nigerian youths, let's build our nation together.
Welcome back. You're still watching Panorama on NTA. Let's now rejoin our studio in Jos for the continuation of the news.
The federal government has launched the National Potato Strategy 2023-2028 with the aim of transforming Nigeria's potato subsector into major exporter of the product. Ruth Stephen Hoke has details.
In an era where food trends are globally evolving, potato remains a staple food for all. As a result, the federal government says the National Potato Strategy 2023-2028 will change the narrative for a more productive competition in the potato industry. Permanent Secretary, Federal Ministry of Agriculture and Food Security, Ernest Afolabi, represented, says regardless of the challenges in the agricultural sector, measures will be put in place to stimulate economic growth through various agricultural value chain activities.
The ministry is embarking on massive production, processing, value addition and product development to be the bedrock for driving the agro-industry.
Governor Caleb Mufwang, represented, noted that economic sustenance as well as enhancing food production in the state will be implemented through this strategy. Critical key players in the agricultural sector are of the view that Nigeria, with its advanced infrastructure and the vast production capacity, has placed it on a global pedestal hub for potato export.
Our mutual goal is to strengthen the income, employment, financial inclusion, and food security of the population in Nigeria, and especially of smallholder farmers and agribusinesses.
This coming together should look at how we can strategize for the benefit of the farmers.
The National Potato Strategy 2023-2028 attracted agriculturists in Jos. Ruth Stephen Hoke, NTA News.
And we have in the studio the Commissioner for Agriculture, Plateau State, Mr. Samson Ishaku Bugama. Sir, you're welcome on the program.
Thank you.
And the National Potato Strategic Plan was recently launched in Jos. What informed the strategic plan, sir?
Yeah, the plan was, it's clearly the federal government's intervention to see how we can bring in food security. It is in line with the desire of this current administration to move from just doing agriculture, but ensuring that there is food security, and potato remains very cardinal in this plan of ensuring food security, and then also making available enough for export to attract effects.
Okay. So, sir, how can Plateau State key into the strategic plan, being a major producer of potato?
Well, Plateau State is the bedrock of potato production in this whole subcontinent of Africa. And Plateau State remains the major implementer of this particular scheme. We have been in talks with the Ministry of Agriculture and Food Security to see how we can bring the details of this plan into actualization. So we're working together with the Federal Ministry to see how we boost potato production and bring value to the smallholder farmers that are involved in this value chain.
Okay, what are some of those plans, sir?
Yeah, so critically we're looking at how we can develop seeds that will increase yield, and then be able to see how we can create access to markets for those people. We're working with GIZ and strategic partners to see that the smallholder farmer, who is the major producer of this, be able to transcend from just production into proper agribusiness that can lead to exports.
Okay, sir, what are the major challenges of potato production, and how can they be addressed to make it globally competitive?
Part of the challenges that potato production has had is that it has all through this time been done subsistently. The administration of Barrister Caleb Mutfwang, the governor of Plateau State, is looking at how we can deliberately increase the number of times, by our farmers are able to go to farm and include. People think that agriculture needs rainfall. No, it needs water. And so we're working together with the Ministry of Water Resources to see how we can increase the number of productions that happen. And then critical to it also is providing the right seeds, and the agronomic practices that we need to be able to boost production.
Okay, now what are your plans for potato farmers in Plateau State? Even though the potato season is gone, but the new season for irrigation farming, what are those plans you have in place for farmers in Plateau State?
Okay, so like I said, we are working with the Ministry of Water Resources to see how we can use every water body that is available on the plateau to see how we can multiply the number of times that these farmers are able to produce in a year. Just like I said, potato does not need rainfall only, it needs water. And so every water body we have, dams around, water ponds we have around, we're trying to see how we can walk around those provisions to see how we have multiple number of croppings in the season. I must also tell you that His Excellency has mandated that we plow lands, for people, just like we did because of the insurgency that we are facing on the plateau. We're trying to see how we can plow lands and make them available for more people to come in and do production more times within the year.
When it comes to planting, fertilizer has always been an issue. Are there plans in place for subsidized fertilizer for farmers?
Yes, sure. All around the world, agriculture has been subsidized. And so we also on the plateau are looking at providing subsidy for fertilizer, and then we will roll out that very soon.
Okay, are there other issues you want to address as regards to potato?
Yeah, so the key to what we want to do is to see how
in a few seconds.
Yes, what we're trying to do is to see how we can convert agriculture for the smallholder farmers from just doing farming into businesses that they can be very proud of. So that's the key thing that we're looking at doing.
Okay. We've been speaking to the Commissioner for Agriculture of Plateau State, Mr. Samson Bugama. Thank you for coming on the program.
Thank you.
Panorama will continue after the break.
The counsel of our fathers.
I will urge and advise our younger generation to use talent and brain to sort out problems, not arms.
Nigerian youths, let's build our nation.
My advice to these young people is please do not take us back to those harrowing days. You probably do not know what it is.
I believe we have fought one civil war too many in this country. So those who experience it will run away from it.
Nigerian youths, let's build our nation together.
from Jos, continue to enjoy our programs.